Hello, everyone, and welcome to RHAP's coverage of Australian Survivor for AUV World. I'm your host, Shannon Guss, here to talk about episode 4. Spoiler alert, don't be here if you haven't seen episode 4. Move along, pull over if you're in the car, everything, and then press pause. But if you've watched it, the third king in a row. Oh, there was a god. There's a lot of kings, but the king is dead. I'm very, very upset to lose Tony. I spent a lot of time crying after this episode, but I am happy to talk about it with my guest today. It is a Sunday, and it is Chappell. Chappell, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. I love this show so much. I love this season so much. And I totally enjoyed Tony in this episode as well. So I have so much excitement being here. You know, I've been loving listening to you talk about this with other people, but I'm jealous every time you do it. I'm yelling at the podcast, like, Puya, what are you talking about? Mike, you're wrong. Like, I'm right. So I'm happy I'm right. Here. Yeah, but I'm right. And so, like, now I get to talk to you again. But, like, I know we're right, Shannon. That's what I'm saying. The point is that you and I are right, and these other days they be wrong. And so now I'm here. But, you know, Shannon, now that I'm back, it feels like the landscape of the season is completely different. And I don't like that. I don't like that last week we knew who these people were. I was so happy to meet them. And now it feels like everything is gone. Like, it's like, what, you know, like I came into the season so excited to talk about David and George and Tony. And like, what do you mean? Like, where are the people? And so this doesn't work for me. I know it's crazy. And I know we don't have a long season, but we need some non-limbs, okay? We need some Redemption Islands. We need some, I'm sorry, Shannon, any other season, we'd be getting this stuff in Australian Survivor. This is not fair.
No, well, I did think about you when we said, oh, and when you come back in a week from now, we'll have lived lives. That can't feel truer. It felt very true when immediately David shockingly went home. But we don't need to nod him. He's going to be the host of the show, Chappell. You will get your David. You will get him in droves. So you'll be fine. I need to nod him for Tony. I have a lot to complain about in terms of Tony going, but I am so devastated about it, especially because we'll talk about it. I don't really feel like Tony did anything wrong here. Like, I feel like, especially of the first 4 boots, Tony was just straight up screwed in a way that you can't say with nuance of the other 3. Like, the other 3 made mistakes or were outplayed in ways where I just feel like Tony was stuck. And watching him fight against that with not a lot to do, even though he did tie a shoe around his neck, don't want to bury the lead. But, you know, there wasn't a lot for Tony to do. So that's why it just kind of devastated me. I hate seeing him in that position where he's not game-changing. I'm putting that as a verb now. He just is in a bad spot. But yeah, after the episode, I just cried thinking about how much I love Tony, how sad I am to lose him here, how unfortunate it is, and the fact that I'm going to have an interview with him. I knew I had an interview on Monday. So I was like, that is the one silver lining for me. And like, I can't think about that without being emotional because I'm so excited for it. I'm so happy. So it's a lot of emotions right now. What did you think of this episode?
Shannon, before we even get to that, think about it like this. You have an interview with Tony, but based on what happens tomorrow, you could have an interview with literally anybody on this cast, and I think all of them would be incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like, tomorrow you could be interviewing Janine. The next day you could be interviewing Parvati. Like, I mean, God forbid. But I'm saying, like, you are in such a good position where, although we are going through the roller coaster of emotions on every episode, you do kind of get to meet these people, you know, and it would be so cool. I mean, like, you get to meet Suri at the finale after she wins. Shannon, there's so much to look forward to.
Where? I'm watching the finale in my apartment. Is she going to be here? I mean, she's invited, but can I tell you something about Suri before we do it? Before we podcast about the season. So Suri shared Bryce's Is a Look video where we were talking about her.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I replied to her story. I said, Suri, I'm in this video. I love you. And you know what? And then she said like, hey, and she did like a heart face emoji. And then when I did it, I could see that I used to message her. I could see that like in 2017, I messaged her. Can I read you what I wrote her in 2017?
Please tell me what unhinged message you sent to my mom. Yeah, let me know what you said.
I said, hi, Suri. I wanted to be one of the many thousands. I'm sure privately sending you a ton of love and support. I can proudly say I'm a super fan of Survivor and have watched all seasons multiple times. And you're my favorite player of all time by a long way. I've been so proud to watch you be brilliant again this season. And I continue to be inspired by your positivity, intelligence, and toughness. You're my hero, and I'm cheering for you all the way. Good luck.
it's crazy that Lisa was able to quote your message to Suri verbatim when she got to the island, you know?
No, it's crazy that I might be able to say those things to her in person when she wins in a couple of weeks from now. But Tony as well. Tony is the man of the hour. I love Tony. He is Suri, but then it's Tony. You know, I don't like to pick my favorite children, but like between Eliza and Angelica, no, I love them equally. But I'm just saying, talking to Tony's a dream come true. I can't wait. Anyway, why am we talking for 5 minutes about my love for these players? We're not even talking about is anyone enjoying this? I can only apologize.
No, Chappell? This is great. I love this. I love this. And I love Tony. I love Tony more in this episode. I've always kind of like, yeah, Tony's a great player, but he's not for me. You know, like for me, I'm like, give me the Suri every time. Look. I have my issues with Cagayan. Of course, game changers is game changers. Winter to War is an awful season. So for me, Tony was just like, he's good. He's really good. But I'm not showing up for the Tony show a lot. But now in this episode, I was so impressed. I loved him so much. I love any Survivor player who's going to do anything it takes within the bounds of the game and not being awful to try to win. The man saw his back was up against the wall and he did whatever he could. The shoe around the neck is priceless. I loved it. I thought all of it was great. He went down swinging, and that's all I can ask. I've said this before and I stand by it. Survivor players are fun when they're in the lead. But when they're playing from the spot at the bottom, when they're playing against adversity and you get to see them and the fight they have and the passion they have for the game, that's what endears me to a Survivor player. So Tony walking around with the Tyler Perry idol did not endear me to Tony. But this, Tony with like his back against the wall up against an all-devouring women's alliance, you know, the one that everybody's been clamoring for, including you, Shannon. And so the fact that it came back to bite Tony is kind of your fault. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that is the type of Tony I want to see. Him putting all his weapons to use here. And even though it was futile, I love the effort. I have so much respect for Tony Vlachos, and I'm so excited that you get to talk to him.
Well, you're 11 years late, but we will welcome you to Team TV. It's a great team to be in. It has $3 million, and it keeps on winning. And honestly, I feel like Tony's 5 reality TV seasons are like 2 phenomenal wins, 1 bad stint in Game Changers, and now like Traitors in this, where I don't take anything away from him personally. I mean, to talk about some criticisms people have actually had of the season, because I did actually find some people are like a little negative, but it's like a tiny little minority. I don't want to add to that. I love the season and it's a gift. I know it exists. It actually, there are corners of everywhere. There's an opinion for everything on the internet. But I think we like all of those things have been mentioned. It's just like how much you mention it. Like, it's true. 16 days is unfortunate. The skews, I talked about this even recently with Rob. We talked about this a lot. You know, it is the minority Americans, minority male, like returning seasons will have a skew, small tribes will have a skew, like all of those things might paint someone into a corner against their will. And this has all of that to extremes. I think it's like how much emphasis do you put on those negatives? Some people are like, this season doesn't count. Very few people, I think. I'm like, I love the season with my whole heart. Here are my small notes. It's still incredible. So with all of those skews and those extremes, I think Tony by far is the most and really the only person actively screwed by it. And the show is lucky, I think, so far that it's really only been Tony. Because even though we have seen all men go in this uneven gender cast, like Rob made his bet. If anything, Rob came in with 4 internationals against 3 Americans. He had an advantage and he made mistakes. David didn't play terribly. There were some strategic things we disagreed with, but he was outplayed by Kirby. David came in again with a cast that was suited to him, with long-term, multi-decade friendships sometimes. And Kirby, who's been in the community for 6 months max before they filmed, got one over on him. He got outplayed by Kirby, I think, even though it was more minimal in terms of like the actual mistakes. George came in a very bad spot, and I think probably it mentally affected him, but then also made mistakes where I think if he does things differently, he actually gets out of that bad spot based on the way things are happening. And you can see like clear blunders. Tony is put as the only American man, like minority American, minority male, with this like all-devouring women's alliance, as you said. And we usually say if someone mentions a women's alliance in the first act, a woman will go home in the third act. I don't make the rules. It's simply true. There's an antidote to that, and that person is Parvati Shallow. And that has made sure that we've had all men go so far when we're talking about these women's alliances. And for Tony, I don't know that I can say there's much more he could have done. You know, he wasn't acting crazy until he pulled out his shoe at the very end. And like, I think that play had merit too. And he... You know, you can go back, and I think even in talking about the bad spot, there have been conversations in the last few days. Should he have let Rob Bentley go? Rob Bentley was giving him less than Suri and Parvati were. Rob Bentley told me the exit he would have been happy to vote Tony out had Parvati and Suri If Parvati and Suri were giving him more. Like if Parvati and Suri had thrown Tony out of the bus to Rob Bentley, which they didn't even do, Rob Bentley would have been happy to vote out Tony, let alone the fact that Rob is wanting to work like very much with internationals and has this like passionate like international dream without the Americans, let alone the fact that can Tony even do that? Like can Tony get Tommy and Cass to make a 4 with Rob? I don't think so. I think Tommy and Cass are in with Lisa. Like maybe it is being outplayed by Lisa there to have that connection, but then they also are unified by being these internationals. So sure, in ways it's like Parvati's also on the back foot and she comes out of it really well. She does have a good group for her with the women, but she like still a credit to her. Lisa does really well, but Lisa has a good group with the internationals. You know what I mean? It's like it's still a credit to them, but they have a little bit of runway, whereas Tony is up against it and then doesn't capitalize on it. But I can't fault him for decisions that seem fine at the time that I don't think he could make any other way. And I can't fault him for the fact that I think it was just a really bad situation. I don't fault him for going home here at all. So it is a little bit unfortunate for me to be like, you're a victim of the system, you're a victim of the structure. And to watch him just try so hard in the face of that like giant wall was tough for me to watch personally.
So why Tony? Why did Tony go this episode?
Because Cass and Lisa have the power of those women, have the emphasis, I think, in that relationship.
So you think Cass and Lisa were over to overpower Parvati and Suri and get Tony out instead of going to like Rocks or something like that for Tommy?
I think that they care more about Tommy than Suri cares about Tony.
So the reason
and as I said on the Rob podcast, actually, I said that the way to win is to care less. But in this situation, actually, it's the opposite. Then they were able to put their foot down and care more. Suri is willing to do that more for them, and they fight harder for Tommy.
So
that's what I think happened.
The reason I asked is because at Tribal Council, we weren't clear as to which way this 3-3 split was going to go. We had both sides fighting for their man.
I think we were.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was that Suri and Parvati were saying we will vote out Tommy, and the international people were saying, Tony, and we will vote out Tommy. Like, I'm pretty sure it was split going into Tribal Council.
Suri said, I will do it for. Suri wasn't between Tony and Tommy. Suri was between Parvati and Cass and Lisa. And she was willing to do it for Cass and Lisa. We have the confessional where she's like, I will do that. Suri was breaking more than any of the other three. And that's the break.
So Suri flipped, basically.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know, man. Because when they get to Tribal Council and they're talking, and they're trying to give us this vision of these two women. They're both women. Both pairs of women are fighting over who's going to keep their third, right? And so when we get to Tribal Council, if we find out that Suri flipped, is there anything that Tony could have done with Suri maybe to keep her a little bit closer to him? Is there any way that he could have won that fight? Because I thought this was a stalemate. I thought there's no way you're going to get. Like this is Suri and Parvati. If they want this person to stay, they're not going to just bend because you said so. And the fact that they did, I'm kind of looking at them like, that's interesting. Especially for somebody like Parvati, who I expect to be able to hold her ground a lot more. So that's why I asked. I wasn't sure watching the episode if it was, maybe Tony's antics at Tribal Council once he realized that him and Tommy were at the bottom. Does he put the target on him by saying, hey, you know what? Look what they're doing. Let's blow it up. Let me put the fake idol around my neck. Can I do this? Do I do this? Was it him pulling out the stops that made Parvati say, okay, I'm ready to vote now and for you? Or was it always going to be Tony going in? I thought that was unclear, but it seems like you've already made up your mind that Tony was going.
I think Tony was going. I think in Parvati's mind, maybe not. But at the end of the day, Parvati's not the vote that matters. Like, Suri is going to say, okay, we're going Tony. And Suri is the one who's breaking there. Like, I don't think... And that also, Tommy and Tony are very different players. And you also can't blame Tony in the game for the things really that they're saying about him. I mean, Lisa's like, she can't really work with him, but she has an agenda because she's trying to work more with Tommy. Parvati says that about Tommy as well. Tony comes in as a 2-time winner. Tony comes in as a threat. Now he's also a shield. But... some people don't want that in the game. That doesn't help Lisa and Cass at all. And Suri also doesn't seem to think it helps her that much. Parvati needs it a lot. I think Suri is a huge name, but Parvati seems like the only one who really wants to keep that massive threat level in the game. So it's not only that Tony comes in against the skew, he does come in as this huge target, which, to be fair, all 4 of the boots so far, and probably everyone in this cast, to be fair, can talk about as well. So I don't think that it's anything Tony did. I don't think he played himself out of the game. I saw him coming in at least on the back foot, pun not intended, with the shoe idol. At the very least, I thought he was out the door with his shoes around his neck. But
Interesting.
I don't think he played himself out. I think the only thing that you could say that actually I thought was a little dicey was that he told Tommy, he was like, I'm out of here the second we merge. I'm like, Tommy could use that against you. But I do think that there's a confessional on the cutting room floor of Tommy in the Lisa spot being like, I just want to work with Tony. Like, I know I need to throw him under the bus, but I think that there's that exact dynamic. And I kind of love these like mirror image US internationals where you have like Lisa Suri, Cass Parvati, Tony, Tommy, which was with the accent sometimes very hard to decipher. But yeah, I mean, do you put things on Tony? You think he played himself out of the game?
I don't put things on him. I don't put things on him. I'm just saying, like, if you talk about Tony's position, Tommy's position is exactly the same. Like, yeah, Tony has a bigger. It is. It literally is. They have the math is even. The math is literally even. You know,
math is even, but there's so much more nuance to the math.
But that's the thing. They don't even know Tommy. You know, so they can't be like, well, Tommy's not as dangerous. They don't know him, and they have reason to keep Tony.
No one is dangerous.
But that's the thing. Parvati has been she made her stance clear. She made her stance clear that she wants Tony in the game as a shield. That doesn't change. 2 hours later, Tony's still that shield that she needs. So the fact that they folded is, I'm trying to figure out, why is this like, why the fold happened, basically. Is it just like Suri was like, I don't really care about Tony as much? And if that's the case, then Suri made this choice. Parvati is in a worse position than I thought. I thought that they were like coming in as a united front against these international players. That's why when we talked about the first episode, and I guess it's kind of cool that they haven't gone back to Tribal Council since then, so we could pick up where we left off. I was like, neither one of us agreed with the RHAP. Neither one of us agreed with the RHAP thing, because we're like, it's just going to send you to a stalemate. Like, yes, it works for Parvati, but now the internationals are like, hey, here we are up against it. We have to stand our ground and potentially go to rocks. And so that's why I was very confused as to like, okay, well, what happened to make it Tony specifically? Because I don't know. If I'm Parvati, I'm digging my feet in. Now, don't get me wrong. Once Tony does his whole thing, Parvati's like, I'm ready to vote. And she writes Tony's name and we get it right in the camera. But was it always going to be that? I don't know. And maybe that's a question that you could ask for, once you get to those people to exit press or whatever, because you're going to get the chance to. But I don't know. Maybe the people in the comments will tell us that they knew Tony was screwed from jump. But I really thought we were going to have two sides that were just, I don't know Cass as much, but I know Lisa, I know Parvati, and I know Suri. These women aren't going to get bullied by these other women. I just thought this was it. Like, this was the clash of the Titans, and we were going to see who came out. And it looks like the US people folded. And I didn't know why.
I agree, but I don't think that they got like bullied. I think that the smoking gun confessional is Suri saying she will let Tony go. And kind of that she will prioritize Cass and Lisa, almost not be beyond Parvati in the game, but beyond Parvati's wishes of a shield. It's two people in her alliance versus one. If she's a little bit neutral, then that's the way it folds. And it's not to me being bullied, it's the way that Suri plays the game. She's a wonderful mediator in that very interesting conversation where they're all giving kind of objective reasons of why you might keep Tommy versus Tony, and like Tony is a threat level and Tommy is like more workable to some, but then Tony to others, and the shield capabilities. But then they're also like very openly saying, like, Lisa's like, I work better with Tommy, and Parvati's like, I need Tony as a shield. You guys don't, but I do. And they're very honest about that. And Suri is the one who's like, what do you think? What do you think? Let's table this. We don't know where it's going to go. Like, let's table this. Like, we want the best for our alliance. We always prioritize our alliance and like keeping that in mind. But we're just at a little bit of a stalemate right now. And I think that she's just willing to put that alliance first. So I do very much give extreme credit to Cass and to Lisa. I think that the way they've won that war of relationships is very impressive. But I don't see it as like negatively to Tony. I'm not like,
no,
well, Suri was willing to let you go.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not saying
it's not like
Tony.
Kirby beating David for me, but it's just
no. I'm not saying it's negative to Tony, but but they're both coming in this spot where they are the ones that are expendable. Both of these guys are the ones that are expendable, and it's kind of like, okay, well, you're in a messed up situation, but it's not your fault, but it's your problem. And so the question is like, what's the solution, right? Does Tony come in and does he try to throw the women under the bus? I wish we had really gotten to see more. And I don't know what Tony was doing, but like, is there a scene somewhere where Tony goes to Lisa and Cass like, look, anybody but me, I'll take, like, let's get Parvati out. Does he have the option to even try that? Because I feel like there's decades of people getting swap screwed out of Survivor, getting put in a situation where there's just the numbers are against them and there's nothing they can do, especially in those pre-idol days. It was just kind of like, hey, you're going home. But here I'm like, okay, is there any way? Because he was fighting and I loved watching him fight. But it felt like at tribal council, it was like slowly starting to spiral, right? Like it was like the women are huddling in front of them, you know, like if nobody knows they're on the chopping block, these two they definitely know they're on the chopping block. So that's why I was like, I didn't really read it as Tony was coming in and he was automatically, you know, the de facto target, because I just felt like if Cirie and Parvati wanted him in the game, they would have dug their feet in and we would have gotten a little bit more fireworks.
I mean, they have to.
But also, I don't blame Cirie for
yeah. They're not going to rocks for Tony, and they want to prioritize their women's alliance anyway. So, I mean, even if that were a consideration. So, I saw Tony as coming in very much out the door. And I think that if you look at Tony's play in the tribal council, it very much personifies the tough spot he was in, because he's up against this women's alliance where there's an emphasis on the internationals, and they have 2 idols. Like, that's what Cass knows. Like, Cass has all the knowledge, and she's aware of that much information. So what Tony tries to do, I think, is really smart. He tries to go to the internationals to basically be like, you can't split, because so you would think like Cirie and Parvati might want to split a vote if he's coming, if he's trying to break up Cirie and Parvati. He's also up against the fact that Parvati is very deservedly won immunity, but anyway, continues to make his really, really tough spot. So he says, you know, okay, well, if they're going to split a vote on Tommy, internationals, are you choosing Tommy or are you choosing Parvati and Cirie? Now, he's up against a lot of very unfortunate things. The first unfortunate thing is that Parvati and Cirie will not split a vote because they know that there's an idol they could use if the shoe is an idol. And we can talk about any of the doubt that was in that. But it's like, if it happens, they can use the idol. I still think it was crazy for them not to split a vote, because you'd hate to lose an idol on that when like Parvati can throw a vote while immune at Tommy and she has nothing with Tommy. I know you want to go in congenial to emerge, but I think that it would be worth an idol to split the vote on Tommy. It's not like he doesn't know that they aren't huddling together as the 4 women, but they don't split the vote. So for Lisa, I think, is actively choosing Cirie, and she also doesn't have a choice. Like, Cirie will be immune if Tommy plays an idol, but even if she had the choice, I think she chooses Cirie. She initially says they should split. So she's the one who even says that, to split on Tommy. She's choosing her women's alliance over Tommy, but she definitely wants to keep Tommy. But so she also knows Cirie will be fine. And not only does she know Cirie will be fine, but she knows that she doesn't even have to have any splits on Tommy, and Cirie will be fine. And she's probably fine with Parvati playing the key idol if it comes to that, the podium idol. So she's in a perfect spot where it's like, I'm not splitting on Tommy. Tony will probably go. If he plays an idol, Cirie will be fine. And unfortunately, Tommy will have to be sacrificed. This is all fine. So Tony is not getting, like, you know, unseating her as much as he is hoping to, even though the plan makes sense, because she would choose Cirie anyway, and because you know she doesn't even have to do it because they have this backup idol. And then Cass is a level above that, where she's like, I choose Cirie,
and I have an idol.
Cirie would be fine, and I know I don't have to choose anyone because I have the idol. So she's like at another level. So he's trying to really get to Cass and Lisa to save Tommy, and for like a bunch of different reasons, they're not into it. But it's not Tony's fault. You know what I mean? It's just, it's so unfortunate, because I see what he was trying to do, even though it was in the Tony fashion to be tied a shoe around his neck, Chappell. Why aren't we talking about it?
I love that. I'm telling you, these were the moments that I was like, okay, I love Tony. I love seeing somebody who's so passionate that they're trying it. Well, that's the thing. Look, I have strong feelings about somebody marching to the end of the game with an idol that you can play after the votes are read. It's not for me. You know what I'm saying? Anybody could have done that.
No, I completely disagree. No.
Okay, well, we've only seen the people who have that idol do it twice, so 2 out of 2.
They were both brilliant players, and that's not true.
2 out of 2
We've seen another person not do it. We've seen Terry Deeks lose.
Terry Deeks made it to the end too,
but then he lost.
I'm talking about getting to the end.
He didn't convince Drew to take him to the end.
Yes, you're right. He didn't convince Cirie? Like, what are you looking for? There's no woo in that season. Anyway, listen, the point here is that wasn't so impressive to me. This was more impressive to me. Somebody, like I said, who is willing to say, okay, I can see that the writing is on the wall and I have to do something. And I'm gonna figure it out. Because Tommy was sitting over there like a bump on the log, literally just sitting there. There was moments where it looked like he wanted to get in there, but he's like, I don't really know what to do. Tony's going off the rails. And I love Tony going off the rails, because at least a little chaos could get people questioning things. You know, him tying the shoe around his neck, it wasn't that he put a shoe on. It was the confidence in which he put the shoe on. It takes you back to that Kagayan bag of tricks, right? Like, I got something in here. There's nothing, you know, this man is a former cop. You know, so he's probably used to the people like, hey, I have a gun. It's like, I can't see the gun, but I think you have a gun. You have your hand in your pocket. It might be a gun. So I can't risk, you know, making a move because what if it's a gun? He puts the shoe around his neck and he doesn't say like, oh, I put the shoe around my neck sheepishly. Like, oh, I know this isn't going to work. I hope this works. He puts it around his neck. Like, now what are y'all going to do? And they're kind of like, this fool got a shoe around his neck. What? And then I was thinking, well, he must not, you know, nobody would have put the shoe around their neck for nothing, you know, so they have to, it has to mean something, right? Then they go talk about it. They're like, it means something. Someone's like, no, it's just a shoe. It's like, no, but is it just a shoe? Because like he's wearing it around his neck. It's like, no, it's just a shoe. You know, that kind of confusion is what you're looking for in a masterful elite Survivor player. Because had it worked, and it could have, like, you know, that's the type of gameplay you look for from somebody like Tony. You don't get that from everybody. And so I think that these moments are the ones that solidify him as the great and one of the greatest players of all time.
Okay. Firstly, you're so wrong about Kageyan, but I'm acutely aware that it's not the time to argue with you about it.
Acutely
you would have taken to the end. There was no god idol then.
Acute is the... Stop it. Wu is not smart.
So? Do you understand how bad the mistake was?
Yes, because Wu is not smart.
It's not just on Wu. You also have to credit.
But we're not even talking about Kageyan, Shannon. Come back.
You're killing me. But it's fine. You've joined the party, but you're not a good guest at the team.
It's the fact that you keep calling me late. I thought this was a welcoming party. I'm trying to get in here. Now people in the comments mad at me. I just showed up to the party. I didn't know I didn't know it was hostile like this.
You can't come to the party and be like, woo, I'm Tony now. Yeah, I'm Team TV. Woo. But he shouldn't. Kageyan wasn't that good. Everyone's like, get out.
I came to the party and you were like, you're late. It was like, wait, what? At least I'm here.
You're 11 years late.
Oh my God. I'm here. I'm here. Tony's great.
Jesus. Awesome. As someone who's like late to everything, 11 years is more than fashionably late. Okay, but it's fine. We welcome you. But don't insult Kageyan. It's fine. Moving on. I had points. Tommy actually, the bump on the log, and I'm going to defend Tommy, who I also love, because Tommy, to be fair, is like, we're fine. Just don't split. He's going to vote for Suri. So in Tommy's mind, Cass and Lisa have chosen him because Cass and Lisa have the benefit of being like, we're not splitting. In Tommy's mind, he just won that war because Cass and Lisa didn't split. And for some reason, which maybe should be concerning, and he doesn't have the idol, and neither did Tony. And maybe that's what you think. But yeah, so fair enough. You can assume there's an idol. But if you're thinking there was no split, technically Tommy wins that battle because no one split to take him out. And Suri technically goes home if Tony has an idol, unless you're thinking someone has an idol, which to be fair, someone does have to. So Tommy is kind of willing to be like, just no one do anything, and they don't. But they also know they have the backup. I think as well, it's like then you have to try, like, work out how much is this happening in terms of does Tony have the idol? Now, the idol would be if Tony got a clue. I'm working it back in Tony's mind. Like, Tony gets a clue that's like, the idol is already in your possession. Simply tie a shoe around your neck, and you will activate the idol. That's how I saw it. Yeah, the thing is that Tony is acting desperate, which makes it seem like he's vulnerable. But the other thing is Tony will always play big, that Tony shouldn't just allow them to split and let Tommy go. So he should do something to keep Tommy and something big, and Tony will. So there are parts of it that are believable, I'm saying, about the shoe around his neck. And they're having to do that, but they just have so many fallbacks that it's not going to work. And it's just, he's up against, an alliance with two idols. Like, it wasn't Tony's time. It just wasn't his time, which, we're very sad in the party. And there's a guy running it as well, talking about Kageyan.
I, too, am sad about this party. I just wasn't at the Kageyan party. That's okay. This party is not that party. I agree. I thought that, like, he did what he could within the bounds of the game. I like I said, people have been screwed by Twist for Survivor. Nobody ever said Survivor was fair. This time it landed on Tony. We have seen Suri as the first person at the Suri party, okay? The person at the door letting people in, yeah. I will tell you. I will tell you. I let you in. I will tell you. People get screwed. It happens,
But it's not fun.
It's not fun. This sucked. This really did suck. Because I think we're being robbed of seeing Tony at the merge. And, like, we didn't know what that was going to look like. But Tony doesn't play a straightforward game. And I could just imagine what it looks like once Tony and the Aussies and everybody is on one beach. Because what we get is the preview of the next episode. And, Shannon, we're right there. We're right there at the merge. It's right there. We're so close. We could have had Tony running rampant.
Let's talk about how we might have had it in terms of the twist of the episode. Again, small notes, the season's the best thing that ever happened to me. I thought this was pretty convoluted. Like, it definitely could have been worse. Some of the things they were suggesting, which have all been done by Australian Survivor, were all worse. I know you say you want non-elims, but someone still would have gone home had they done the fire making thing that they've done in All Stars, where 2 people are voted out and then 1 comes back. And I always hate that. It's like, you didn't even save an episode with a non-elim, and now someone has an asterisk next to their name. And that they've been brought back. And I was like, please don't do that. Then Suri was like, maybe only the people immune are voting, which we've also done.
She made that
which
up.
I famously
that wasn't going to happen.
didn't love. So it could have been a lot worse. I think this was kind of like what they've been doing recently. Like, it wasn't so bad because it didn't like ruin the sanctity of the game in huge ways, but it was very convoluted. It made the entire immunity challenge for the Australian tribe redundant, which also felt unfair because the world's crushed that. I loved Luke giving birth. That was hilarious. That was really fun. But I think that, it made that redundant. And then I also thought them picking rocks for the fire maker. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Like, Tony the fire winner trying to coach Suri, who's already been a fire loser. Like, I get the history. I just think that they should have been able to at least put in their best champion, because then you get decisions, right? Then someone's going to put their hand up and be the champion and lose. Now, that's interesting. The Rock, it's like no one wanted Suri to go up there, and she didn't want to do it either. Like, it's just unfortunate. So I thought it was a less interesting decision, and it was way more unfair. And then the immunity challenge made less sense structurally. It just kind of didn't make that much sense to me. It felt like they were just trying to take up time, which they don't need to do, because I'll just spend time with these people every second. If the episodes were 5 hours, I'd be there. I just think if they wanted like a big Sunday night twist, like just merge them. If you want the interactions, we're barely getting them anyway. Just merge them, or just do a swap last episode and swap, like do 2 episodes and then swap for 2 episodes. And then that might also, I mean, swaps can screw people too, but with these big skews, it would get rid of some of that. Well, I mean, it would move to the swap, but it would be in different ways. It might make it more dynamic. It might switch it up. I think they should have maybe they could have swapped for 1 episode. They could have swapped here and then merged tomorrow. Or they could have done what we suggested, which they did in Return of the Outcasts, and done the kind of big tribal council, and then they just merge right after it, where they all vote together. Someone can definitely get screwed there as well. But I honestly just think they should have merged them tonight. But anyway, what did you think?
They wanted them going to the merge even. They wanted this even split. And the best way that happens, I mean, but look, you don't get that if you merge them, right? If you merge them right now, you get the world up 1 on the Aussies, and then potentially you could get a Pagong. Of course, that wouldn't happen, but you could.
Yeah.
Here,
there's no Pagonging in this season.
I mean,
you gotta trust
we could talk about it. We could talk about it, but yeah. So here, you flip a coin, the world ends up having to vote somebody out, and the Aussies get off scot-free. They lost the challenge and have lost the last 3, and here they are, just like, nope, we don't have to vote anybody out. I thought it was kind of messed up. Like, what is the point of the immunity challenge if you're like, yeah, but your tribe still gets to be intact? Like, y'all, you lost. You should have to vote somebody out. I'm sorry.
Well, we don't know. We don't know. Like, Sarah could have outlasted the entire world tribe. Unlikely.
Unlikely.
I mean, it's just, maybe. It was just her. But like, I have said Cass and Pav are 2 of the best endurance athletes I've seen on the show. I don't know. I don't want to put that past Sarah. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I won't put it
at the point where they all dropped before the world players who were, without even Lisa playing, like they all did. Suri, like, amazing.
Right.
It seems unlikely that Australia would have won that challenge. So it feels like we had a bit of a home ground advantage. Feels like when you watch like a football game and the umpire's like giving the crowd a home ground call. Didn't love it.
What? Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
What?
So
is that a different language?
Yes, because you meant football like soccer.
No, I meant like Australian rules football. But it doesn't matter. Whatever. It's true of any sport.
Anyway.
In any sport where the umpire or referee is like hearing the crowd and kind of like lets the call go, or what, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
Yeah.
Usually at football, I went to a different. It's fine. But yeah, so I think you now get this opportunity to put them at 5-5 going into this merge, and that's a totally different ballpark. Like, you have the Aussies have the opportunity to say like, no, we're gonna say Aussie strong. You have the world looking to either divide even further or get, or to stay strong too. Who knows? So I don't know. I feel like if you swap them a little early, you don't get this opportunity. I think they really kind of want this. This is like heroes versus villains, right? You get to the merge and it's dead even. And then it's like, okay, now what do you do? And I think that this kind of puts us in that same vibe. And we talked about other parallels with heroes versus villains, but I do think that this puts you in the same vibe of like, it's still AU versus the world at this point.
I think that that's overlooking the coolest part about all of this, which is the interactions. Like, we don't want...
It's going to be
especially
cool
because it's not even US versus AU. Then I would get it. It's like country v country. Like, it's AU v the world. Like they're all from different countries anyway. So I kind of feel like what you want is the dynamic interactions. What we want is like Kirby already trying to like get something going with Pav. Like they wanted it here. They're like all sit down at tribal council for 1 second, and then Jonathan is going to explain the twist. And like, but that's not enough. Like we don't just want them to sit next to each other. We want them to be like actually interacting. And another thing I didn't like about the twist was that no one knew what was happening. So you did get two tribes strategizing, which in many ways is better, but they were also half strategizing because they didn't know. Like you say, was Tony walking in, going home? Technically, no one was, because they felt like they didn't really have to make that decision. They were hoping they would just go back to camp. And if Tony was the fire maker, like maybe that would be the case. So they didn't know. And you can even tell that Kirby, Kirby's like, I might save Shawnee. And Kirby loves clearly like a tribal council,
she loves shenanigans. Yeah, that's my girl.
She was also right, because you'd hate to blow up. Like, I think she could have, like, to save Shawnee, what I would do is I go to Sarah and be like, Luke and Janine told me what you said verifiably. I still trust you, but we should vote out Janine. You'd hate to do that, and then you like at camp, and you don't even know if you're voting, and then you don't vote. Yeah, so she did the right thing by keeping it to tribal council, but the thing is, it like gutted both strategies. I'd rather they just had information for what they were doing, because people don't want to play. People will be more conservative. People will keep things closer to the vest if they don't know what they're doing, and rightfully so, as we see. God forbid Kirby does blow up her whole tribe, and then they move in as a 5 to the merge anyway, and they don't go to tribal council here.
Oh, Shannon, let me tell you about a little show called Big Brother. That is where we are in Big Brother right now, is that we have this battle of the block, this BB blockbuster or whatever that happens on the day of the vote out, right? And so everybody is planning for basically all outcomes, because they don't know who's going to be up for elimination. And that's what we had here. Like Kirby saying like, okay, when I get there, I might save Shawnee. But that's only if I get there and I have the ability to save Shawnee, and we were going to vote somebody out, and I have to vote somebody out. And then in that case, you have to say, can Kirby save Shawnee? And can she do it within the confines of the tribal council? So I don't hate that, but I definitely agree with you. I think giving them more time to interact is what I personally want, right? Like I want to see like the Avengers, right? Like I don't really care that they're on two different tribes. I'd much rather them be at tribal council. Was it Game Changers, in fact, that they did the joint tribal council where both tribes came together and had to vote out one person? Isn't that the JT getting Malcolm voted out tribal council? That would have been cool, So it was. So
you can get screwed on that. You can't, it can be unfortunate.
That's the game. Yeah, you can get screwed. Yeah. But what I'm saying is that I think that's way more interesting than what we got.
Yeah, I like anything like this was like kind of a little unfair, and then also just kind of weird. It's fine. It's still the best thing that ever happened to me. I just think even if it was the same challenge, and then then Parvati wins also reward, and then they get to eat reward while watching the tribal council, and then they merge after it. Or some, so anything like, I know that's kind of like small stakes, but the stakes here were kind of small. The stakes here were like, you actually, the immunity challenge you thought you were doing was individual immunity for just one of you, and not actually the other one of you who won immunity. And now you have a different immunity challenge, which is that you're going to randomly be assigned a fire maker, and then that's the immunity challenge. Like no part of that is fair or makes sense. And I also think like if they had won that fire, you'd be pretty pissed off if you were Parvati, who offered for Cass, that she would give Cass an endurance challenge later, and then it wouldn't have mattered at all. It did matter here. I was surprised that Parvati did that anyway, because it felt like if you go to tribal council, you're so okay. You have the key. At a worst case scenario, if it's just your tribe, you have like a splittable majority. Like they seem fine. And then like even if it like, because they didn't know what was happening, maybe that's why you do it. In case it is like a double tribal or whatever, but then you do have the key as like for a worst case scenario. I think that she should have not done that to Cass. And I think that giving up a future immunity when she's so scared about being a target and needs Tony as a shield wasn't the right deal. What did you think about that?
I mean, she was just talking, like if it comes down to it, we don't, like, come on, man, what Cass gonna do? Like, you told me girl, this is SurvivorAU versus the world.
There was a truck involved.
Guess what? We moved on, like life went on.
I don't think you want to be like bargaining with that social capital here.
I don't think it matters. Cass might not even be there for the next endurance challenge. You say whatever you got to do to win this immunity, and then you move on. So like I think Parvati gets in the spot she's in because she was immune. She did not have the key idol. She was going to go get that thing from the podium, and that would have been a whole thing in and of itself too. So, I don't mind
not if
her,
you're about to play it. The
yeah,
worry
you
is
have to be
getting
about to
it
play it,
to
and
yeah,
keeping
but
it.
like if you need it tonight, which is what I'm saying, it
Mhm.
could be the desperate situation if she doesn't have immunity, then
Yeah.
it's just like pulling it out, like just to go get it from Jonathan's podium. So that's actually
L
not that big a deal.
But lying to cast doesn't bother me. It doesn't. It doesn't. So what? And okay. It's like, all right, so I didn't give you the endurance challenge. Like, you don't even know if you're ever going to be in that position again. Like, that's assuming, like you said earlier,
Yeah.
we can't count out that Sarah wouldn't have been in that spot next time, or even Shawnee. I was very surprised that Shawnee didn't. Yeah, I was very surprised that Shawnee didn't outlast it. Like, they were talking about Shawnee as if she's not like great at immunity endurance. I'm like, no, Shawnee's like one of the watch, and so you make this is an empty promise. Like, yeah, sure, I'll honor it. Okay, fine. And then you deal with that later on. You can vote her out before you can get there. Like, who knows? So I don't have a real issue with that. I do have an issue with you bringing up Terry Dietz in an episode where we had to watch the remake Fire. Apologize.
Sorry, it's Terry's
Okay.
fault. I'm just saying. I was negative on Terry. I'm saying he had the God idol. He didn't win the show anyway. No, but it was also an empty promise from Cass because Cass was about to drop. So it's like we're just saying words at a point.
It's just saying words. Yeah, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But what did you think about watching Cirie play Fire, do Fire? Because this is traumatic. They should not be allowed to show us this. This is. I was like, okay, I was like, anybody but Cirie. Then it was Cirie, and I was like, okay, can she do this? I was like thinking back. I was like, okay, it's been years. It's been decades. She's played like 6 times. Surely she can do this. She has it. And then to watch her like struggle, I was just like, what is happening? Like, she still doesn't have it. And like me, the delusional Cirie stan that I am, I'm like, she can do this. She can do this. Shannon, she can do this, right? Right?
Honestly, I don't care.
No, I care about because
Fire.
it's Survivor 50. She might have to make a fire. Cirie!
Do not. No, I voted against that. I didn't actually vote, and I couldn't vote. I'm Australian, but I'm just saying, I don't care if Cirie can make a fire. She's the best person alive. I don't care if she gets across a balance beam. It's not important. She needs to
make a fire. The fire is important in Survivor 50.
No.
It's very important, and you know it.
Well, it is very...
Who's most likely to get screwed by... Shannon? Who's most likely to get screwed by the fire?
Survivor 50. I'm
just saying, watching Cirie in this moment, I was just going through a range of emotions. I was like, I feel like Lisa could have made the fire. I would have bet. I would say Cirie got this. She can do this. I said, do you know what I said? I said, Sarah probably can't make the fire like Cirie can. It's been so long since Sarah's played. Cirie's played every other year for the last decade and a half. Like, this is fine.
They played at the same time. They both played in 2017.
But did they both play 4 times prior to that too? I was like, she's got more reps. Shannon, what happened?
She's only known for losing the fire. Like, that's the only information we have. I think, look, imagine being a person whose 2 favorite players are Cirie and Tony. And then, like, you're a child and you watch Cirie lose at fire and she loses the game in Panama. And then, like, decades later, she loses at fire and then Tony goes. It's just like, I don't like this. I don't like episodes where Cirie loses at fire. And I don't like who goes home because of it.
Yeah, I don't like this. This was tough. I don't know. The fire thing really bothered me, but it bothered me even more because it landed on Cirie.
In saying that, great episode, like, not for Sarah strategically, and it has been an absolute mess. I love Sarah with my whole heart, but in the challenges, like, so I think Sarah came in. I don't think George has won individual immunity. He will tell you he won like a reward when they were, I think, at the merge of Brains v Brawn, where they were like throwing the sandbags. But I think other than George, Sarah on the Australia tribe hadn't won an immunity because she came 8th and she'd only played that 1 season, so she didn't have that many immunities to play. She won immunity, her first immunity, as far as I'm aware, and she won fire. Like, she actually was like beasting out these challenges in one episode, but it wasn't going well for her. She would have gone home if she wasn't immune and then wasn't immune again. Like, she literally saved herself twice. And if she didn't win those 2 or one of the, she goes home. So what did you think of that?
Do you think that she goes home? Do you think Kirby can do the Kirby at Tribal Council and make this happen?
Oh, no. Well, that's not even what it's about. The only reason that Kirby has to get it off Shawnee is because Sarah's immune. If they don't have an individual immunity challenge and that tribe just goes to Tribal Council, Sarah was out the door in Tony's idol shoes. This was crazy to me. Firstly, Kirby's power. It's something I don't believe. I watch it every week.
No, stop it. I'm a believer. We sat on that finale podcast, me, you, Liana, and Puya, and me and Liana were like, y'all don't get it. Like, yes, We see
I
Ferris,
get it.
but y'all don't get it. Like, y'all don't get it. Me and Liana were
I
going
get
to
it.
bat.
I'm at
You,
the party.
you don't get it. You don't. You
What's I'm
at
not at the party? I've
You
been here.
you at the
I've
party.
been here.
You
I've been here from the first day.
you
I
was
invented the
not.
party. I sent out the invitations.
Listen,
Did
the
you get
Kirby
my
party
invite
is
to the Kirby
the,
party?
the Kirby party is a special party. I love it because there's a moment even in this scene, I think in this episode where Luke goes, "Well, Kirby's in charge," and I'm like, "Do you know how that sounds? Like, do you look around you? Look at the players you're surrounded by. Kirby, who has not seen any of y'all play Survivor at all. Kirby, who has not played nearly the amount of days that any of you have played, and she's in charge. This lady." We need more Kirbys in this world who can just show up and do stuff. Because how can she do this? I love it.
I don't care what happens from now. Like, even in the next time on, they're like talking about taking out Kirby. I'm like, don't do that. But even if she were to go home tomorrow, this season has only like quadrupled my already high estimations of Kirby that I had when I was setting up the decorations for the party that I'm the host of in the Kirby party. But it is insane because when we talked about this last week and we thought Kirby's not in a great spot because Sarah's pulling away. She's worked with Luke before. And yes, Kirby knows Luke. Luke knows everyone, okay? Luke had so many connections on this tribe. Sarah has worked with Luke. We thought Sarah's going to go to Luke and Janine and say Kirby or Shawnee. Mike thought Kirby was out. I thought Kirby could throw Shawnee under the bus. What actually happens is, firstly, Sarah even says Shawnee, not Kirby. So Kirby's already good to go, even though Kirby should manage Sarah better. I will say that part.
Yeah.
Then, before even the challenge, like, they might not even go back to a tribal council. They couldn't have known it would be an individual immunity that Sarah would win, but they might not even go back to tribal, and they still blow it all up rather than going in more congenial or just taking the easy route with Sarah. And they go to Kirby, and they say, Kirby, we want to work with you. Even though Kirby's one who took out David, like, sure, Sarah flipped, but Kirby, like, took that shot. They go to Kirby, and Kirby has complete control. She has all the information and the ammo that maybe to save Shawnee, or at the very least, she was never in danger. And the only reason any of that is even a concern is because Sarah's immune. Like, Sarah's just going to go home. So Kirby was completely going to have a cake and eat it too. And even with the difficulties of Sarah winning immunity and them having to possibly vote like that, she would maybe lose Janine, or could, like, hopefully, you know, keep Shawnee, or maybe lose Shawnee at absolute worst because Sarah's immune. She's so powerful. How's she doing that? It's amazing.
I do want to talk about what you were saying about Kirby not managing Sarah well enough. Is this Kirby taking her foot off the gas, or is this Sarah being Sarah? Because she's very wishy-washy in this season. We've seen her like I want to be loyal, but I don't know who to be loyal to, but I'm loyal sometimes. And she put all her eggs in the Kirby basket, and now she's coming to Kirby like, look, it's me, you're number one. And Kirby's like, okay, cool. And I don't know if she's just looking for words of affirmation. Like, do you really believe that Kirby was like, is being cold to her? Because when we cut to Kirby and Kirby's finding this information out, she's like, why is Sarah playing me like this? We're ride or dies. You're supposed to ride or die. It's not ride, get paranoid because I'm not giving you enough, and then jump ship or start complaining to other people. It's ride or die. I said I got you, so I got you. Is it just like Sarah doesn't play the Kirby style of game? Is Kirby not giving Sarah enough? What do you read about on this situation between the two of them?
I mean, there have been pain points, right? Like, Kirby has made Sarah, pretty much made Sarah do what she didn't want to do 2 different times. Like, I think she should be going out of her way to manage Sarah, knowing there's that kind of issue in the relationship and that Sarah could be unhappy about it. So I do kind of put a little bit on. I don't put it really on Sarah because I can kind of see why Sarah would be upset. I put most of it on the situation because, as I said, like, Sarah most wanted to work with David and Kirby and, like, mostly target Shawnee. Kirby most want to work with Sarah and Shawnee and, like, mostly target David. Like, that's a very untenable relationship. So I think it's mostly just that they have, like, such misaligned priorities, and that's just really tough. But I do think knowing that Kirby could put in a little more love. I don't think that that's really, like, she's not like a Suri style player like that. Like, you see the way Suri caters to her allies and is, like, kind of mothers them in some way. She is mother, but, like, I don't think that's really Obviously. Kirby. Like, I don't think Kirby's really going to coddle you, but maybe she should a little bit more. So, but even in saying that, like, Kirby also doesn't need to, because apparently if she mismanages it, or if it's a tough situation, when someone comes to other options, they aren't even taking you out. Like, she still wasn't even taking Kirby out, and then they're going to come back to you. Like, that was just absolutely insane. And I have to say for Shawnee as well, like, Shawnee, there's like some pros and cons. The pro is like they also want to work with Shawnee over Sarah.
Mhm.
Like, they don't want to vote out Shawnee, which is what Sarah's saying to do. But Shawnee has had this crazy Sarah blindside. And to be fair, it might be because it's unforeseeable. But if Shawnee watching this
Right.
back, like, why does Sarah have it out with me? Like, she
Oh, you
thinks
know
they're
she is.
aligned. Yeah,
Oh, you know,
it would be very
yeah.
confusing.
You know, Shawnee's in the group chat. Like, what the hell is wrong with this girl? You know, like you know what's happening. And you know, to Kirby's power, I don't think knowing Luke outside the game hurts. You know, we do see when Janine and Luke are coming to Kirby, like, hey, maybe it's the three of us. Like, well, having a
Luke knows
pre-existing relationship,
everyone. Luke knows
yes, and
Sarah.
that's good.
I did Talking Tribal
And
with the two of them.
and that's perfect for somebody like Kirby because she knows nobody. So she needs something. And so I think that you do have that natural bridge. I'm not saying that it couldn't have formed if Luke didn't know Kirby, but it definitely helps. And so, yeah, I don't know. Like, of course, I kind of agree with you that Sarah, Kirby should be paying more attention to Sarah, but Sarah's not really in a powerful position at all to be like acting out. You know, it's kind of like once you got up under Kirby's thumb, you have to be her, like, you got to ride or die. You put yourself at the foot of the master. You can't go and start plotting against her, because if it gets back, then you put yourself in a situation where you're in today, where it's like if you lose this challenge, it's you. And I think that she was playing a really dicey game. I think this twist with the fire, as you pointed out, definitely saved her. And I don't know what that looks like moving forward. Now that Kirby has lost trust in Sarah, now that we're going to a merge, what do we do next? And I would love to talk through the merge with you prior to us getting there.
That's crazy that that's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
But before that, I mean, Luke and Janine have always had a really lovely relationship, and we see like how tight they are here. I think Janine's also too hard on herself. I thought the split was very fine, and like just because it doesn't pan out, like you don't do a split because someone definitely has an idol. Like you do a split because they might have an idol and you didn't. Anyway, it's also a fair bet that George might have an idol.
But you don't split on your ally. No, but you don't split on your ally. It's really I understand. Choice. But yeah, you do. You do have a choice. You don't split. That's the choice. You know, like if you're on your ally,
George has an idol.
But he didn't, and you could have not split, and you be in like you could be at 100% if you didn't do that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't split. I'm saying that you do have options, and that's why you feel bad because
and this was
you want to work with somebody. Because if somebody split on you, you wouldn't be like, this is fine. I understand. Even Shawnee's saying that. She's saying that exactly. So that's why I feel like Janine has to kind of have like look at the situation and say, I split on this person I want to work with. Now I have to mend that. I can't just split on it and be like, it's the numbers. Look at the numbers. It's fine. Like, no, you voted for me. So what's up? What you gotta either gotta vote me out or you gotta lock me in. There's no middle ground.
Well, that's what I was fun. Like if he does have an idol and she doesn't split, she looks like the biggest idiot on the planet, you know, like then he doesn't have an idol, but you took that, it was a cautious approach for that. And you were willing to make that like social gap. You did it with Luke as well. And I mean, they ended up having other options here. I don't know if they thought they would. Luke obviously knows he has an idol in terms of that. Janine thinks she's a little bit more vulnerable. There's not a lot of tribal councils and you're thinking you're going to merge soon. You'd really hate to not split. And then the merge was next episode, or you don't go back to tribal council even, let alone the fact that like Janine might have even been fine here. And you didn't split and George did have an idol. It's also such a fine bet that George has an idol. I just think she was a little too hard on herself. Sure, it's always a fun back and forth, but she was like, I can't believe I split. It's like, no, it made sense. It's just a decision you made. Like it was one way or the other. Yeah.
But you have to manage the decision. You know, there's aftercare to these decisions. Shawnee, like we're going into the merge next episode. If Shawnee is feeling some type of way about y'all voting for her, what's keeping Shawnee from going to the highest bidder at this point? Like, I know I'm at the bottom. Y'all voted for me on the split. It was George or me. George could very much be here and I could be gone. So now maybe I should work with some people who wouldn't split on me. Maybe I should vote with some people who I could use to split on y'all, you know? So I understand why you would be looking at this and being like, damn, because you do show your cards a little bit. You did show Shawnee where she was in the pecking order.
You have to though, because of it's a tough situation. The funny thing is, well,
go back to Mark cases that show you shouldn't show people where the pecking order is, Shannon. Like we've been doing this.
Yeah, but it's not something you want to do. Sometimes it's something you have to do if you're in a tricky spot. And I'm sure people have been yelling at the podcast because I feel like in every podcast I'm like, yeah, and then Janine would go home. Like George also did actually vote for Luke, but like that's just a caveat. That doesn't really matter. But like so she really wasn't out the door at all. But anyway, this is the beauty of splits. We're here since Cowboy thought of it a very, very, very long time ago in seasons. We keep referencing like that period.
Why do we keep coming back to these same seasons?
Yeah, but and it's still interesting because and we do this every time. We do this with a new era for every episode. Should you split on a possible shot in the dark? And you know, we weigh it up and it's always interesting. I just think Janine's a bit hard to be like, I definitely shouldn't have. It's like, no, it's a choice and it's interesting. Anyway,
Yeah.
but then what about the choice to go back to Kirby? Like, you would think they would just take the easy option. I think especially when you don't know if you're going to go back to Tribal Council and then you could merge, like, they really, like, blew it up. And maybe to be fair, I guess now I'm, like, talking myself back around. Like, you don't want to split the majority, which they are in the loosest of terms, because Sarah doesn't even want to work with Shawnee. But you don't want to split them on their terms, right? So it's a more aggressive move, and that might not be great right before a merge. Like, the more congenial thing is like, okay, we have Sarah in our back pocket. If we go to Tribal, we know we have this. We could vote out Shawnee. Or we can like try work with Shawnee, we can try work with Kirby and like really blow it up to take out Sarah. That's what they do. It's more aggressive, but I guess if you're at the bottom and it's a short season, maybe you play with fire. But I think just because it's right before a merge, I would expect them to be a little bit more passive. But now that I'm talking it through, I guess I'm not that mad at it.
Yeah, me neither. I like the move. I like the move.
Okay. What else do we have? Do we have other things?
What else was it? I feel like this.
Oh, you want to talk about the merge?
Oh yes, definitely. I definitely want to talk about the merge because I feel like there's so much that can happen. As we talked about earlier, it's not like the line is not as clear as it may seem, right? Like this is not tribal lines because you have 2 Americans, you have the 3 people from separate countries, and then of course you have the Aussies who are all coming in as one big tribe, but and the women's alliance as well. You have the Aussies coming in as one big alliance that could just decide to stick together, or whatever, but they probably won't because they're dysfunctional. We also saw that the Kirby, the Kirby, Luke, and Janine alliance appeared in this episode. So it's like, or maybe the international people get back again with Tommy. Do they scoop him back up? Does Tommy, now seeing that Tony was at the bottom and that he probably is at the bottom too, does he automatically go running to the highest bidder? I feel like there's so many different possibilities going into the merge. I don't know what it would be, but I highly doubt they're going in 5-5 and they're going to go to rocks.
No. I mean, if anything, like the Australians are like coming for each other's throat. Like there's so much going on. But I think the way that I would think it would work in a longer season is like the women's alliance picks up like a Kirby and a Shawnee and they kind of dominate. But I do wonder if in a shorter season, it's like the women's alliance isn't looking to recruit. They're not looking to recruit the big name players. Like maybe they are looking to like get a really big win. Recruit maybe some more passive players, like definitely get like a Tommy, see who's on the outs. Maybe you can recruit like a Sarah. What if Sarah goes and it's like, let's take out Shawnee? But I feel like Parvati will love Shawnee. So I think the Women's Alliance is in control because I think that they're the most unified, biggest block. And Rob always says that, right? Like that's where the kind of power lies. So that's 4 of 10, but with extreme recruitment potential. And I think a lot of targets. So is it like, oh no, we're just going to like devour like a Luke, but then Luke has an idol? Is there like some sort of split? Is it something as easy as that? I think I'm struggling with, I don't know what a merge vote looks like in this permutation. I don't know if you do a big vote or if you do something kind of easier at first because it's such a short season. I don't know if you do an easy thing. So maybe they could be game hunting.
I think Sarah's gone.
How so? How does that look?
Because Kirby's in charge. Kirby, so like all this stuff doesn't matter when that's what I really think. I think that all of this stuff is cool until Kirby decides it's not. She comes in and she already wanted to target Sarah anyway. The Girls Alliance, it definitely works for Kirby because she is also a woman. So this is perfect. And so if she wants to throw somebody to the wolves, Sarah's easy pickings. They were already thinking about getting rid of her. And then she said, okay, I can ride with the Women's Alliance for a little bit. And then if I need to take out some of these other threats, then obviously I can. But I think the first sacrificial lamb is Sarah. I don't think there's any reason to target Tommy. Yeah, he has nowhere else to go. I think Shawnee and Kirby are locked in. I think Sarah kind of she's betrayed everybody on her tribe. Like Luke and Janine did not come in wanting to get rid of David. So it's like she doesn't have any allies for real. Like she's at the bottom of the bottom. Yeah, Tommy at least has the other international people looking out for him, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, the strength of the Women's Alliance won't get rid of Tommy because half of them who apparently have like the power here don't want to get rid of Tommy at all. And I think that if it got to that point, if like there was another tribal council, they would have had to, but like they really don't want to. So I don't think that Tommy's in any danger. I could see Sarah, but then I think what the issue that you're pointing to is that Sarah's too easy. Because if everyone will do it, then what's the point? Like I think they could go from they could be a bigger power struggle than everyone having a consensus vote when there's so few votes. It is interesting because it's such a good season. It is amazing, but like 3 of the 4 votes have been like unanimous. So I think they might want to like draw some real blood. And I don't know if Sarah's that bloody.
But who do you think? Who's the big game? Because the big game
Kirby.
from my no, but that's the thing. Kirby's big game in this game.
Out Kirby. I don't
exactly,
know.
But who's coming for Kirby?
To take out Kirby because the Australians will never do it. Yeah, so they don't have numbers. That's
they love her.
After that.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Sarah kind of Luke has an idol too, and I also think that like if Tommy, let's say Tommy runs it back to Luke, hey, these women are all working together. I saw it happen last time. It was crazy. Tony went out talking about it. You're in danger. We're all in danger. The Luke's playing idol. Yeah, there's a shoe. It's a whole thing. Like I can just picture Tommy like, hey, you got to understand. And so if he does that, I think that Luke could probably have some type of immunity, or at least, he'd have the insight from what Tommy has experienced on that other tribe to know that like he might be in danger. I really think that Sarah is probably easy pickings here. And, it's a fast moving game. I think an easy consensus merge vote is kind of normal for these types of games. Like let's go to the person that we all just kind of want out, and then we'll figure it out after that. So I just was watching this episode specifically, kind of looking at, okay, like if they merge, what happens? And to me, it's just like, it all keeps coming up Sarah, unless Sarah decides to flip. And I think that would be so interesting as a character moment for Sarah, because she is Miss Flip Flop. And I would love that. But it goes against everything that she's been saying prior to this. She's like, I ride or die for Kirby. I want to play a loyal game. But I would love Sarah so much if she gets that merge, looks around and says, I kind of want to work with Cass and Parvati. Like I would love that so much, where they're targeting, Kirby's trying to target Sarah, but she's already found greener pastures. And then we have a lot more fluid gameplay moving forward. But right now it's looking like Sarah to me.
But I think Kirby doesn't like doing the easy thing either. And now Sarah might be too easy. And now it's like, okay, whatever. I can do that anytime. What else can I do? Maybe Kirby tries and unites the Australians, but they might be too far gone. I love that I really don't know actually how it's going to go. How fun is that? I can't make a prediction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Either way, I'll be sad. Whatever it is makes me sad.
Do you think the Women's Alliance is the prevailing alliance? I know you said they're the 4, but I was really kind of looking at this like almost like a Tika 3 thing with the internationals, whereas like they have the Women's Alliance as protection. Tommy obviously doesn't, but they protect Tommy, and then they can still use him to do their bidding as long as he's not the one getting voted out. Like if they're coming in as the Women's Alliance and they're going to target the next man, I think they're going to protect Tommy. They're coming after Luke. Luke has an idol. He could save himself. He could also go home with an idol. That's possible. But I do think that like, honestly, although the Women's Alliance is probably the bigger alliance, I think that if a strong 3, we've seen this, that's kind of the thing in Survivor. It could happen.
Well, firstly, Parvati to re-voting out a man with an idol would be on brand. No, I think Suri, I think it's nuanced. They trust Suri more than Parvati, which I thought was interesting. They say that. I also thought, thank God Parvati had told them about the key, because Tony's instincts was so good to also just come for the key there. And that she'd managed that fine in this like communal idol. I think Lisa chooses Suri over Tommy.
I don't think she has to choose Suri over Tommy now.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying that you're saying like, what's the prevailing alliance? Is it the Women's Alliance or is it Tommy?
The prevailing alliance is Lisa and Suri.
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't have to make the choice in the end, right? Because they knew Suri would be protected by an idol. So, but I think that had they had to make the choice, I think they vote out Tommy here. Like if Lisa says to split originally, so I think that maybe it's different for Parvati, but with Parvati immune, I think, if they had the choice, I think Tommy goes first, which means the Women's Alliance or at least Suri is more important. If they don't have the key idol, they split on Tommy, or they allow a split on Tommy, which must mean Tommy's a lesser priority. I still think they're very important. As I said, I think that they were riding with Lisa in the Rob vote no matter what. That's one of the reasons I think Tony was screwed. I think that 3 is very important. I just think that Cass and Lisa are between 2 very good and important alliances. Like, what a credit to them. Not everyone always has a hierarchy of things in their mind. Like, maybe things are just both really important to them, and then like push will have to come to shove. But it is a huge credit to both, I think, Cass and Lisa, which we will definitely talk about in the Jizzy for me.
Yeah, and big shout out. First of all, big shout out to Tony for recognizing that key got found because no one was looking for it. That's the type of energy. That's the type of energy I'm talking about. Okay.
Welcome to the party. It's lovely here.
I'm here. I'm at the party. And then also
some chips and dip.
A little bit. But also, big shout out to Cass. She watched Parvati like a hawk going to get that podium idol. She like, girl, what you doing back there? Oh, I just have to stop and get something. Oh, yeah, really? Can you hold my torch? She was sitting there right there the whole time. I was like, yes, Cass. You gotta send me these links so I can watch Cass play Survivor. I'm getting frustrated because I think I'm trying to understand. I think I'm showing up to the party. Yeah, I'm trying to get to the Cass party.
Okay, you can watch it. She does go to Tribal Council for 26 episodes at one point.
I would be 11 years too late for the Cass party too. No,
that was really recent. She was. I think she played the most recently.
I'm talking about the Chaos Cass party.
Oh right. Get it? I'm only in so many parties. Like most of them are on this season. But
I'm not.
Should we get to the Chizzy? Not to the Cass party?
Yeah, sure. Sure. I'm at the new Cass party.
I think we might agree. Anyway, it's fine. Thanks for taking a second one, and MC Color.
1, 2, 3. It's getting kind of chizzy. 3, 2, 1.
We're at the Chizzy party now. Can I think of some better Tony-themed snacks than chips and dip?
I mean, you only need them for today.
Yeah.
Llama?
Yeah,
you're a vegetarian.
Yeah, I'm not going to eat it, but I'll serve it.
Oh, sounds like you need to leave the party.
I came off the podcast with Rob doing we talked so much about Tony, and I'm like, oh my God, I got to do Wordle. I'd actually set my clock back because the podcast was going to go over midnight, and I knew that my Wordle would expire. This is an interesting to anyone. The word was llama.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, and I was like, and I said to Rob, a sign that Tony will be okay. Because I said to him, Rob, do Wordle. Pics taken moments before disaster. Tony, I miss you. I love you so much.
Big shout out to Tony.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be cliche and give 3 points to Suri, but I kind of do. Because
what? I mean, always, but I'm surprised.
I kind of do. But see, so here's because again, I came in thinking that this was a stalemate, and now that I've talked it out with you, it was kind of like, no, Suri was willing to just cut bait with Tony. She didn't care for him that much as far as keeping him in the game versus going to rocks for him or whatever. And she wasn't willing to dig her feet in for that. She kind of throws Parvati out there. Parvati's now her shield, which is kind of cool. But I really wasn't giving them that much credit for this. I just felt like they folded on Tony when he started acting crazy. But going in now, if you're what you're saying is true, and they were always going to get Tony here, then I'm like, Suri has worked that relationship with the other two women so well that where they're willing to work with her. As you said, Lisa pointed out that she does trust Suri a lot and she wants to trust Parvati. I do think the split is tough that, just based off of everything we said, but also because if you split, who's to say they don't pile on you? You know what I'm saying? I thought it was cool that they just kind of stood their ground, but I don't know, man. I don't know if I can give Tony's gone. So I mean, Lisa. Yeah. Okay. I'll give Lisa the 3. I owe her because I gave her one last time. So I'll give Lisa the 3. I do think that they all stand their ground here. They saved Tommy. That's a good thing. Tony's gone. I don't think Tony had any interest in really working with Lisa. Lisa didn't have any interest for working with Tony probably because she's seen him play. And so she knows it's probably a volatile person to play with once you get to the merge for sure. So I'll give that to Lisa. 2 points to Cass because I really did enjoy her in the immunity challenge. I liked watching her kind of watching her watch Parvati get that idol. I was just like, look at Cass, good episode for her. She's also popping on the screen. I've been enjoying her confessionals and stuff like that. So she's becoming a good character for me. And then Suri lost that fire. I can't give her a point for losing that fire. That's tough. I'll give one. It's tough, man. I think it hurt me more than it hurt her, which is crazy to say. And so I'll give one. I don't think I can give one to Parvati though. She was Tony. She really lost Tony in this episode, and I don't think that was good for her. Okay, yeah, I'll give one to Suri. So 3 for Lisa, 2 for Cass, 1 for Suri.
I was in a similar space. I'm giving 3 to Cass. Obviously, she and Lisa, I'm going to give 3 to her, 2 to Lisa. They keep Tommy and the women. They really have their cake and eat it too. But I think she also has the idol. So like Cass has like such perfect information in that tribal council where like she just says Tony dead to rights. As she says no voting confessional, she's like, I know that this shoe is nothing, because I have the idol. So I think she's just got it on lock. Like she comes out of this tribe. They both come out of this tribe with the exact 5 they want to. And Cass has the idol and they have a group idol. Like Cass is in a fantastic spot, I think. And I'm thinking having a private idol as well. Like she has capacity to really do something big and make a real name for herself. So I gave her 3. I gave Lisa 2. So Rhea I thought handled it all really well, but they technically lost out on Tony technically. And I also think that it's just crazy to me that they risked playing the key idol when they could have just split a vote on Tommy. And I know that's what we just talked about with Janine, and it's always a decision. Do you want to piss Tommy off right before? Like, Tommy can tell he's not with you. Like, Parvati says she has nothing with Tommy. Throw 1 vote on Tommy. Like, how annoying would it have been if that shoe was real? And maybe they're correctly reading that, and that's fair too. But I kind of think I'm surprised they didn't split a vote. Not giving it to her for that reason, but that's just some of the caveat. I will give 1 to Kirby. Everyone wants to work with Kirby. I've watched it now in like 1 and a bit seasons. It's actually crazy.
Okay.
We thought, like, Mike thought she might be the boot here. And instead, even with Sarah possibly not working with her, she held all the cards. It's beyond. And I also
hear
like
you.
that she didn't blow it up before Tribal.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I'm still questioning the mishandling of Sarah. Like Sarah's getting squirrely. And this is a person who come in. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know. Because, like, again, if Sarah goes rogue at the merge, she's within her rights. If they're
still not coming for Kirby.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if she goes rogue. They're losing numbers, and I don't think they can lose numbers at the merge. Like this is critical. We're going in 5-5 in theory, and so like that's why I hesitated on the Kirby. I definitely considered it, but to me, I was just like, man, it's tough. And then also for Kirby to be about to throw away one of her number 1 allies, like she has Sarah, who has basically said, "Here's my game. You can have it. I'll do what you want me to do. Cool, bet." But now I'm like, I'm kind of annoyed by her. I'll get rid of her for Luke and Janine. It's like.
Well, she's not annoyed. Like, Sarah, if anything, said that she was considering voting out Kirby. Like, I think she gained more allies than she lost in this episode. So, on the roundabout, like, she got Luke and Janine.
More. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I don't know. So, I don't have a huge problem with it. But that's why I didn't give the 1 to Kirby.
Yeah, I think this is all very reasonable.
Yeah.
Great. That's it. Chappell, tell the people where they can find you.
I'm sorry, my head hurts. We just went through so much.
It was a lot. We have more? I don't know.
A lot.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah. So follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky @Recap Kickback. Follow me on subscribe on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/@Recap Kickback. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Show me some love because I need more subscribers. Come on, you ain't gotta watch it, just subscribe. It'll be nice. Trust me, I'll love it anyway. I love you more for doing that. Leave some comments. Say, hey Chappell, I disagreed with what you said. I'm gonna say thank you. I love you too. Thank you for subscribing. That's gonna be cool. And then keep up with all the podcasts that I'm doing. The Nothing But Netflix podcast. I talked about The Biggest Loser last week with Omer and Brandon Donlin. There's a Netflix documentary called Fit for TV about The Biggest Loser, and so we talked about that. So it's a Survivor crossover right there. And then on, of course, RHAP, you can catch me on the Big Brother coverage behind the paywall, talking about sloppy things on Big Brother. It's crazy Big Brother season. Tune in. Make sure you keep up with that. And then you can catch me on my podcast right now. I'm covering season 1 of Flavor of Love. And we're almost done. We're about to do the finale live next week or this week. And so keep up with that. And then follow me on all social media platforms to keep up with what else I have going on. What about you, Shannon?
Well, go to Chappell's comments and tell him he needs an education on Survivor Cagayan.
Oh my God.
Don't worry, we're at the party. We're explaining it to him.
I'm at the party.
We'll do it after this podcast. I'm going to press A. We should do that as a separate podcast. Imagine if we're putting so many podcasts out right now. We end this recording. We just start again. And we put up a podcast that's like Shannon and Chappell argue about Survivor Cagayan.
It's so funny that we would spend that kind of time when Survivor 49 cast just dropped. Boop, 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 boop,
yeah,
boop,
that's the thing happening in the Survivor world. No, it is. I'm listening to the
happening.
podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't have space in my brain for it, but I just wanted to like listen to Mike and Rob. So anyway, but things are happening in Australian Survivor. I will be interviewing Tony Flacos. I'll be speaking to him. He'll be speaking back to me.
I'm so happy for you.
Speaking to each other.
This is so dope.
I'm
telling you, I told you this season was created for you. Embrace it.
I'm so excited and also so sad, but that'll be happening. So that exit interview is going to drop soon when you're listening to this, and then recaps with Puya and Mike, and then the show with Rob, and hopefully all the exit interviews from now on, because I don't think any of the other players are going to be the host of a show and maybe unavailable for the X interview times. I'm hoping to get the interviews. Chappell, what do you think about David being the host now?
Oh yeah, I haven't got to comment on that. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I as somebody who's new to the David party, but also who's new to the party and moved to the very front of the pack because I came from the Dondi party. So I kind of we met at a different party and then we brought it to this party. I'm very excited. I'm sad for JLP like everybody else. I think he's an incredible host, but I think David can bring so much character to that role. I think that JLP and Jeff kind of play it one way, very similar ways, but not the same. But I think David has the opportunity to really bring some of the golden god to that role. Rob kind of talked about it when you and him were talking, and you're saying like how he was talking about like, and Kirby wants me to come to her on the beach, like that kind of energy. She wants to threaten me and my son, like those things, those sound bites from David. I just want him to bring that type of exuberance to hosting the role. I cannot wait to see what this looks like in the future.
Yeah, well, you're in the David party now. I mean, I don't think anyone would criticize that. I feel like I've been to actual parties with you and you're always the life of the party. And that's you at the David party. Like, you're there handing out the shots. So the golden shots, I don't know alcohol. But
well, I'll see you in San Francisco.
At that party.
Okay. At the Golden Gate Bridge party? Yeah, we're going to do that.
Golden God Gate Bridge is where we'll go to in San Francisco in just a couple of months. But follow me at Shannon Gates, subscribe to WienerGlobalSurvivor.com so you don't miss any of this coverage. Thank you all as always for checking the podcast out, experiencing the season with us. Thank you, Chappell. Thank you to our team behind the scenes, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.